We're going to be reviewing 7 different pieces of functionality. The first one is the form that triggers off the process. Now, the form can be triggered from a bookmark, as you see here. It can be triggered or linked off of the client's intranet portal. It can also be a link off a SharePoint portal. Clients launch it different ways. Now, the form is where we're going to gather the information that's going to get the process going. This form, there could be one for a client, there could be multiple, but the form will drive the data we capture to figure out what to do. In this example, the user can upload forms to be part of the process. Depending on the need, they may upload forms, or by virtue of filling out certain data in the form, it'll automatically grab existing templates to be used in the process. So whether you're uploading or using existing templates, it depends on the need. Once you're ready, you hit submit. Once you've done the submit, at that point, various tasks are kicked off. For starters, a workflow is created. Here you have my tasks on the Atom Storage dashboard. These are the tasks that were created via that form or driven from that form. This task here is the first task in the workflow that was created from the form you just saw me fill out. The task that's created and what's on that task obviously depends on your needs. This is a sample task. So it depends on the form as well as the process as to what data is there. Now, when we've created this process, we've also created a unique ID for this request, this process, if you will. Okay? That unique ID there at the bottom, as well as the name, which happens to be grabbed from data on the form, is also the additional, or I should say the main name of the folder for the entire process. So in other words, the primary folder is that unique ID, and below it you see a folder structure. This folder structure depends on the business process being kicked off, because you could have different folder structures based on the data that is filled out in that form. Now you can also take an individual document, folder, or what have you, and change that security. So if you've got the appropriate access rights, the user can manage security and select a different security policy. And of course, that depends on the user's access rights, if they have the right to change security. Now, once we've gone off, of course, and uploaded that form, what has happened? Well, all that form data, right? We talk about building the folder structure. All that data in the form is now searchable. So from a search screen, you can search on all that data that you entered as well. So it's not just used to select templates, build workflows, everything else, but also it is searchable. Now we can also search for the actual documents or folders. Here's an example of a dashlet, and of course this data is for this process. Your process may have different metadata here, but you can enter information and that results that appears right there. And you can click on either the links you see here to get you to a folder. In this case, if you click on the contract name folder, it would take you to the contract folders. If you clicked on the vendor name folder, it would take you one level above. You can also see that you could search individual pieces of metadata, like status. I selected under review, and it shows me all the documents that are under review. I click on the contract name link, it'll take me directly to that folder structure, and I can work with those documents. Now, let's talk a little bit about comparisons. In this example, we're using Word, but what I'm showing you from an Office integration perspective will work with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, as well as Adobe. So here I am, open from Word. I can go off and click my recent document list, last 30 documents I've done. I can also go off and do a document search, searching on metadata to find a document. In this instance, we're going to browse. Going to go to the Snow Support folder or project. I enter the name Snow Support. It gets me to that particular folder. I can then click on that folder and drill down if need be. Here's my documents. I can click on this document. I'll see comments there to the right, as well as metadata above. I'm confident this is the right document. I can now click Previous Versions. It'll show me the version tree. I can now go off and select 2 versions I want to do a comparison to. And of course, the moment I select that second version, the Compare button will be active and it will do the comparison. Now in this example, we're showing you the integration into Workshare. Don't have to use Workshare. Works with Workshare, Latera, as well as the out-of-the-box comparison if that is all you have. This example, of course, doing the comparison where it automatically fires at Workshare, does the compare, builds the red line, and then if you want, you can save this track changes version back into the repository. All depends on your needs. Last thing I want to show you is reviewing synchronizing of data between on-premise and the cloud instance. On the left, you have a local instance of Alfresco in your four walls, if you will. On the right, a cloud instance, okay, accessible outside of your organization. Now, in this example, what we're going to do is we're going to take a document that's being worked on in your four walls, the on-premise version of Alfresco, and by virtue of executing a sync, it will move it to the cloud instance. Now that can be done a couple of different ways. You can individually sync files, or what some people do is they create a folder, a sync folder. They drag the document to that sync folder, as you see, ready for review, it's your sync folder. Just by doing that, right from within your repository, it automatically syncs with the cloud instance. Okay, so just by doing that, you see I refresh, boop, there's a document. It appears right there. And this is that same synchronized document. From here, the user can do whatever edits they need to do. In this case, we're editing the Word document. Once they've done their editing of that document, they will go off and close and then save, or save and then close. All depends on how the user works. But they can save that document, close it. It'll go back into the repository. And then from there, the user can go off and save the document. Once the document is saved, at this point, it now gets synced back to the on-premise version. So if I click on the document, you'll notice as we go down to the audit trail, the first item in the audit trail is the synchronization that happened, 1.0. Then 1.1 is the editing that we just did, right? As a cloud user, we just did that editing, hence the 1.1. When I go back to the on-premise version, okay, you'll refresh that, and we'll look at the audit trail of the on-premise version. You'll notice basically the opposite, right? You initially did the editing to that document on the on-premise version, okay? And then when the sync came back over, it indicates, oh, this latest version happened over in the cloud, as you can see there. So that allows you to have people synchronize automatically back and forth and make sure that the external parties work on their external site and the internal parties work on the internal site.